Good afternoon. We welcome you to virtual variations on the Fridays in May. My name is Evan Anderson, and I'm the Associate Director of Music here at Trinity English. The compositions that you'll be hearing today on the hymn tunes were all written by Bob Hobby, the Director of Music here, and you will hear him playing them on this magnificent organ here in just a few minutes. The first hymn that we have is Built on the Rock. The text for this hymn was written by Qumran Dee, a 19th century Danish philosopher and pastor. Qumran Dee was heavily influenced by the Enlightenment and German Romanticism and went on to become one of Denmark's most authoritative minds of the 19th century. The hymn tune Kirken was composed by Ludvig Lindemann, a 19th century Norwegian organist and church musician who is perhaps best known for compiling many of Norway's folk tunes. This stately hymn is in both text and tune proclaims the mission of the church eternal. As the text says, church bells still are calling the young and the old. The tune for our next hymn, Nettleton, has two texts typically associated with it in the ELW. The first one is Praise the One who breaks the darkness, and Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing. the latter probably being the most familiar text. Little is known about the hymn tune itself, other than that it is American and was one of the many tunes compiled by J. Wyeth, a late 18th, early 19th century American printer. Both texts associated with Nettleton are texts of divine providence and grace, as well as the love and compassion of Christ. The opening words for the first stanza of Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing are, Come Thou Fount of every blessing, tune my heart to sing Thy grace. Streams of mercy never ceasing, call for songs of loudest praise. The hymn tune Qumran Dee was written by Welsh musician John Hughes in 1905 for a local hymn festival in Wales. The tune has been a favorite in many denominations around the world. There are several texts associated with the tune, the original text being, Guide me, O thou great Redeemer. The text of God of grace and God of glory is also associated with this tune, as well as the Pentecost hymn, God of whirlwind, God of tempest. The text for Guide me ever, great Redeemer, is as follows. Guide me ever, great Redeemer, pilgrim through this barren land. I am weak, but you are mighty. Hold me with your powerful hand. Bread of heaven, feed me now and evermore. Feed me now and evermore. Our next hymn is the old gospel favorite, Just a Closer Walk with Thee. The origins of both the text and the tune of this hymn are uncertain, other than they are both American in origin. Themes in the text may have been drawn from 2 Corinthians 5:7, which states, "We walk by faith and not by sight." The tune may have its origins in southern African American churches of the 19th century, but this is not for certain. It did, however, become quite popular as a gospel funeral hymn in both African American churches and in evangelical denominations as well. The refrain, though I know many of you already know it, is, "Just a closer walk with thee, grant it, Jesus, is my plea. Daily walking close to thee, let it be, dear Lord, let it be." The hymn tune Ingelberg was written by the well-known 19th century British organist and church musician Charles Villiers Stanford. Originally, this tune was composed for the text "For All the Saints," but later became used for several texts, the most well-known being "When in our music God is glorified." The first stanza of that text reads, "When in our music God is glorified, and adoration leaves no room for pride, it is as though the whole creation cried, Alleluia." We thank you for joining us today, and we hope that you will join us again next week at the same time, Friday at 12:10, for another virtual variations on the Fridays in May.